parts of life. Like, of course, when you want your life to end, it's generally because of not the abuse itself, but the fact that nobody cares. Nobody cares how much I am harmed. Nobody gives two shits. Not one person who claimed to care about me has done a thing to, of course, turn it in, to do anything to actually stop this. They ignore me for years on end. I might get an apology. How about instead of saying you're sorry and doing the same thing, how about you don't bother saying you're sorry and actually just do the right thing? How about between telling me that you're sorry but you're too cowardly to tell the truth? Just don't bother. Why didn't you tell the truth to begin with? I understand why you won't come forward now. You're ashamed of yourself, and you should be. You absolutely should be. And you want to put it off on me because I'm trying to get help from somebody who claimed to be my friend. If you're not my friend, leave. If you can turn a blind eye to this stuff happening for years and years and years, you're not a friend. What are you doing sticking around? What are you doing pretending? I wanted to believe Sigi, but here's the thing, is that when it came down to actually keeping his word, he wants me to believe that him telling me he did something that he's got no proof of is evidence that I should trust him. Lots of people did that. Lots of people did that. I said, hey, you can't do it alone. If you do it alone, you'll get blown off. Also, you're probably not going to record it, so there won't be a recording of it. I'll just have to take your word for it, but you're not going to try to come forward in court. So you're fucking me over intentionally. You are intentionally wasting my time. Now, there's a lot of people like Kaitlynne Tatum. You know, she could speak up in public if she was a good person, but she's not. That's the thing. There's a big difference between nice and good. You can tell the difference when you ask a nice person to tell the truth. That nice person will become a very, very mean person very quickly. Because they don't fucking care about you. They care about themselves. They care about their parties. They care about their drugs. They care about their alcohol. They care about their plumbers. They care about their electricians. They care about their bills. They care about their babysitters. It's kind of like being an artist. Sure, people want you to draw pictures, but they're not going to pay you. Everybody else comes first. People like to overspend for shit they don't have the money for. There's lots of pieces of artwork that I spent 40 hours or more drawing. And people didn't show up for 6 months for that piece of artwork. Or kept on telling me for 6 months, they're gonna next week, they're gonna the next week. Oh, just hold on to it, Sean. Just hold on to it, Sean. 6 months down the road, they're like, so you got that picture? Yeah, I sure do, but it's ruined. It's been in my backpack for 6 months of fucking homelessness, asshole. Oh, and by the way, you still don't have the money, I know. You're just wanting to get it because somebody's birthday or Christmas or something is coming up and you don't have any money for an actual present, and you figure since you already had it commissioned, already had it drawn up, and it's been sitting in my backpack for 6 months, that now, well, you know, might as well send your granny something. Not cool. Kaitlynne Tatum just messaged me. I don't know what it says. It starts off with, I'm sorry you are going through, and then after that it doesn't say because it's a pop-up. So I actually got to click on that to see what it says. Now here's the thing. The things that she has typed to me and said to me already are dismissive enough. They're dismissive enough. How much more of this dismissive stuff do I got to go through? How much more of this dismissive stuff from people who claim to be my friends do I have to go through? You guys who have never had to call suicide hotline, you know what suicide hotline is? A dead end. They don't help with the things I need help with. You know who can? Friends or family. Friends or family. In order to prevent this from happening to begin with, I would have had to have actual friends or family, and I obviously didn't. Obviously, when Kaitlynne Tatum told me to come see her at her new Starbucks store, she didn't actually mean it. Obviously, when Haley Smith, one of her co-workers, at one point in time anyway, well, she was going to help me out too. She rented me a room, that room that I tried to commit suicide in between when Natalie was killed and when they found her killer. Why did I try to commit suicide? Because literally none of my friends cared. They were all too busy looking away while I was being harmed, and still am being harmed. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You have no idea how many people who claimed to be my friends and claimed to care about me said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm a bad friend. How many people said they're sorry for being a bad friend? Quite a few. Well, how about instead of being sorry, how about you stop being a bad friend? How about you stop and actually try being a friend instead of leading me on that we're friends? For some reason, when you don't contact me, you don't get a hold of me to find out how I'm doing just because you care. You don't worry about me. I'm the last thing on your fucking mind unless I'm getting a hold of you and asking you for help. When you try pretending like it's been a one-sided friendship where you've been the friend and I haven't for all these years, when the evidence shows you've been the one ignoring me. You've been the one that's been blowing me off because all of your problems are more important than mine. I get that. But if you actually care about somebody, you will make the time. You will make it. When things went to shit at Starbucks there in Boulder, Colorado, you know, there was a lot of people there at the Starbucks that I kept safe for a lot of years. But because my back was injured and I couldn't take care of myself, I had to hope that one of these people who claimed that they cared about me and pretended to care about me actually did. I let Miss Kaitlynne Tatum know about Nicole Werner because Nicole Werner was going to help me, but Nicole Werner didn't show up. There's also Bobby, and she was going to come help me, and she didn't show up. And Ray, she worked there as well, and she, of course, said she was gonna, and she didn't show up. And then there was Chris, and he said that he was gonna, but then he didn't show up. I don't say nice things anymore. I'm not going to pretend that you're my friend when you've showed me that you're not. I don't understand why it is that you pretended to be my friends while you pretended to care about me. If you cared, I wouldn't have to prompt you to give a shit. If you cared, you would want to hear my voice. You would want to call me. You would want to speak up. You would want the abuse that I endure to stop, but obviously you don't. You don't even want to hear it. Your problems must be worse than mine, no matter what. And I listen to you tell me about all your fucking problems, but you can't listen to mine. I try to communicate with you in the way that you're willing to, even with you knowing that you are pushing me to commit suicide by taking everything that I type completely out of context, and by typing shit at me that entirely dismisses what I am going through. I've moved over 40 times, over 50 times since 2016. But you haven't bothered to find that out, have you? No, even if I told you 100 times, you're still going to say, well, why don't you move elsewhere? A lot of these idiots, after 6 fucking years of me not being able to go to Boulder without being threatened, harassed, or fucking assaulted, they get a hold of me and they're like, hey man, fucking I'm only like 20 minutes away, why don't you come see me? 20 minutes away? I'm in Tillamook fucking Oregon. No, I'm not 20 minutes away. And you'd know that if you paid attention. When somebody is bullied to the point that they want their life to end and they need help, and you swear up and down that you're their friend and you care about them, but you don't help, you help the predators to get away. See, what Kaitlynne Tatum isn't understanding is that her not being a friend for the last 6 years is the reason that I'm not happy with her. With all talk that she had about how she wants to create social change, and she is literally looking away from a case that can blow all this shit wide open if one person actually gives a shit. But also, I have to understand that here in the United States, we have taught all women that if they do something fucked up, they can play victim, and they automatically win. When you start playing victim, I give you the option of seeing your way out. I'm still going to expose the situation either way, but you get to almost sort of save some face. The reality is you don't have any face to save. You fucked up. You showed that, of course, you don't care about social change. You don't care about doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You don't care about the victims. You care about you. If you cared about social change, when somebody like me came to you for help, somebody who has never done you wrong, somebody who protected you so that you could do simple tasks like go out and dump the garbage without getting threatened, harassed, intimidated, or fucking cornered and stabbed for taking out the trash. Lots of people said they would help. Well, before Natalie came back into my life, all those people at Starbucks telling me all their pretty words. But in the end, Nicole Van Duzer threw me away like trash. Haley Smith threw me away like trash. By the way, that's not the Haley Smith that got Brian Farmer stabbed in the head. That's not the same Haley Smith. The Haley Smith that worked at the Starbucks was not a complete and total fucking moron who was drugged out of regard and trying to start drama and trauma where it didn't need to be. Just because I care about you doesn't mean you care about me. You get to see with a lot of these females especially, there's a expected role that they think I'm supposed to play. Where a man is expected to give help, a woman is expected to give advice, even if it's shitty advice. That's all that a woman is expected to provide in an equal relationship or an equal friendship. Because supposedly women have it worse. Now we get to see statistically women are more likely to get violent. And the men are more likely to get locked up for it. We also get to see that women are more likely to be sexual predators and more likely to engage in gang stalking. Women are 11 times more likely to be stalkers, but depending on what part of the United States you are, men are between 6 and 26 times more likely to get arrested and convicted for it. A man doesn't even, well, an accusation is good enough to convict a man and send him to prison. Whereas a man, they'll make every excuse not to even look at the evidence. I would like a large coffee with 15 sugars and 15 creamers.
15 sugar, 15 cream. Is that everything for you?
Yes, sir. That'd be perfect.
All right, $1 per split then.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I tried to let them know about the abuse. None of them cared. When somebody is being abused, they need your help immediately or their predators get away. You want to talk about social change? Social change for who? Obviously not for the disabled, the homeless, or white males. Thank you, sir. Do I hate Sigi? No. Do I hate Kaitlynne? No. If they told me this stuff was going on, especially Kaitlynne, because I know her. If she told me she was abused, I wouldn't waste her time pretending to be her friend for 6 years. I would do something immediately. If she told me that her husband was missing, I don't even know her husband, but I'd post it up immediately. Just like I did with Brandon Ratner, who never bothered to come forward. When his brother disappeared, how long did it take me to post it up? Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe. Probably closer to 5. And I kept at it for days. Speaking up doesn't mean that you post up one unrelated post and say, oh, see, Sean, I'm fighting for your rights. I posted up one post in 6 years. Fuck you. Meanwhile, thank goodness for brown people, many of whom barely speak English. When my vehicle was busted down in Hood River, the people who helped me to fix my car barely spoke English. Thank you, sir. They barely spoke English, but they still helped me. Being stuck on the side of the road with a busted vehicle. And of course, you see that there's hundreds of white people driving by. Hundreds of them. You can be stuck there for hours. And then, of course, some lady gets out of her vehicle and tells her 14-year-old son to fix your Honda Civic. She says it in a very, very thick accent because she doesn't speak English too good. And half in Spanish because although she's trying to say it in English so I can understand, she's not real good at the English language. But her son, what did he do? He fucking fixed my car. A little 14-year-old boy fixed my car. Minorities. Well, these white people all want to look the other way. Complete and total strangers cared more about me than any person that I knew in real life. Out of all these people who told me, hey, Sean, you saved my life. You saved my life, Sean. If you need help, you just let me know. I let you know. At least Kaitlynne Tatum isn't one of those people whose lives I saved. She's just somebody I tried to keep safe. She was the Cinderella there at the Starbucks on Pearl Street. She was the one who did all of the front lobby work, all of the table cleaning, all the sweeping. She did the work. She did the work. She's tiny. She is a very tiny lady. Kind of like Miss Bobby. But here's the thing, is that none of them bothered to find out what's going on. None of them bothered to ask. None of them bothered to care. And of course, if they look it up, it's for 2 seconds, long enough to go, oh, well, they found her killer. What, you assumed that this all started because she got shot in the head? No, I've been speaking out about the abuse that I've been taking since before Natalie was shot in the head. Well before she was shot in the head. And of course, I reached out to the people who hadn't been a waste of my time in the past. The people who hadn't bullshit me. Those who showed that they cared or pretended that they cared the most are the ones that I went back to. While my so-called friends are making every excuse not to do the right thing. Oh, I can't. I'll lose my job. Well, you'll lose your job if you don't as well, because I'm going to make sure that the public is aware, and I'll show proof. Between the mandated reporter training videos, the paperwork that I got, hot damn, I shouldn't have had to spend 6 goddamn years jumping through a bunch of people's hoops who aren't willing in 6 years to call me up and find out what's going on. People who, after all these years, even though I do get a hold of them and see how they're doing, ask them how they're doing. When I see a post come across my timeline about how they're having a rough time, yeah, absolutely I pay attention to that. Absolutely I do care and I do reach out. But not for bullshit and pretty fucking words. Do you need help or no? Are you being victimized? Then I'll go to the cops with you. We can do this over the phone. We'll find a way to make it work. But if you're literally going to make zero fucking effort and make nothing but excuses, well, it ain't a happening thing, is it? Now, for me, you expect me to understand your life and what you're going through, because instead of listening to me, you're busy telling me about all that stuff. And so all that stuff is what ends up going on YouTube. That's what ends up on Facebook. Between you admitting that I went to you for help, speaking up and saying, yeah, Sean came to me for help. He tried to get help. But then again, now you have that shame of you did nothing, and now people are dead. They're dead. Not because I didn't try, but because not one single person who claimed to love me, who claimed to care about me, who claimed to be my friend or my family, not one of them actually followed through with any friend shit or family shit. If your friends are only your friends when it doesn't interrupt your fucking party, they're not your friends and you're not their friend. You're a user and an abuser. And to do that to an at-risk adult is so fucked up. And claiming that you're fighting for social change while acting like this, while treating a victim like this. No, absolutely you are not fighting for social change. You are looking the other way and allowing victimized to be victimized to death. And you're doing the one thing that guarantees they will get away with it. You're ignoring the victim and making excuses and talking about yourself and doing everything that you can to be dismissive instead of listening to the victim. Any excuse not to listen. Now, Kaitlynne Tatum, whatever message she sent me, no, I can't read it right now. I can't. I've got a lot of anxiety about the bullshit that she keeps typing at me, her excuses. They're fucking pathetic. And they're mean-hearted and they're hurtful. And when you tell somebody that something that they are doing will push you to suicide and they literally go out of their way to do it. We got to see this with Danny last week, didn't we? How dare you call out a woman? It's okay for them to call out men. This is the sexism that we're dealing with. I'm not calling you out for killing people. I'm calling you out because you're not a friend. I went to you for help because you claimed that you were my friend. But you didn't do none of that friend shit, did you? And now people that I know are dead. And, of course, people that you know are dead too, Kaitlynne. But that don't matter, does it? And you remember Bonnie? You remember Bonnie? She died of cancer. You remember her. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't remember Caroline either. She was from New Zealand. She liked to do triathlons and stuff. You know, I got to know these people. I got to actually believe that they were my friends when all I had to go to was either the folks at Starbucks or a bunch of homeless junkies. I went to the folks at Starbucks. That was my safe place. And that remained my safe place until the situation with Devin Cockerill. None of those people understood the abuse that I was going through. None of them tried. All it took was the opinion of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl to fuck up that whole situation. It didn't matter how good a person I was. It didn't matter how honest I was. Some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl didn't want to take responsibility for her fuck-ups. Now, if you guys listen to this, you listen to my YouTube channel over the years, yes, I still talk about Devin Cockerill. And I fucked up. And I admit the parts that I fucked up because you know what? That's what an adult does. Wait, I forgot. We do not hold female adults to the same standards in the United States. This is what an adult male does. This is what constitutes a real man. Fess up to your shit. Instead of hiding it and blaming the victims and telling them they wanted it, needed it, chose it, and deserved it. Because of your selfishness. If you're so selfish that you will look the other way while people are being fucking killed, what the hell kind of a friend are you? If you're not going to help somebody turn in human trafficking or sexual predators who are fucking little kids, you've got something so far screwed up in your head that you should not be allowed in public. Let alone when it's coming from somebody that you know in real life, who never done you wrong and told you the truth. Truth is, I post this stuff on the internet because these people have had their chance to be good people. Kaitlynne Tatum, I know in real life. She got 6 years of opportunity. Sigi Lork, I've never met. I don't know him from Adam. He got 16 days worth of opportunity. Any of this stuff that you want to make me go in and do myself, I'm not supposed to. My rights won't be observed unless one of you gives a shit enough to speak out, to actually put a fight into it. If all you're going to do is whine in general, this stuff is bad. Okay, things are bad. Okay. That doesn't come up with a solution. When somebody is bullied to the point that they want their life to end, it's not the bullies. It's the people that they have to go to for help and their complacency and their bullshit and their selfishness. Now, lucky for Kaitlynne Tatum, my little sister's life was just threatened, and my niece's life was just threatened. I wonder how Kaitlynne Tatum would feel if these son of a bitches had actually killed my sister and my niece, and I got a hold of her and said, hey, all this time you could have done something. All this time I've been trying to let you know. But you did nothing, and now people are dead. Here's the fact. The fact is, my little sister and my niece aren't the only people that were threatened. And although they're not dead, there are loved ones of mine who are dead. Many of them specifically because nobody wanted to listen to the guy who knows what the fuck is going on. I didn't grow up under a rock, you ignorant fucks. I grew up in the goddamn system. I didn't get a free car when I turned 18 and a free driver's license and $5,000 for graduating and get a co-signer on my goddamn everything. No, I started off with one shoe, one sock, a pair of pants, and a t-shirt. I grew up in the system and on the streets, motherfucker. In the system and on the streets. So if you, with your pampered life, want to tell me what it's like in the system and on the streets that you've never lived in or on, you can take your ignorant bullshit and shove it up your ass. Stick your head in a toilet and fucking flush. Stop wasting our oxygen. Stop treating the victims like they're predators for trying to get help. Stop talking over the victims. Stop treating the victims like they don't matter. Stop going out of your way not to find out what's going on by typing every dismissive thing that you can to let them know that they are not human enough for you to give a shit about. Kaitlynne Tatum could speak out publicly about what she knows. A lot of people could. They showed their cowardice and now they get exposed. You let it happen, not me. You know how we end these videos. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind. Sigi Lork's picture is up on the front here. Now maybe that Ativan feller, that's what he calls himself, or 666, or Rich Life of, or he's got hundreds of accounts now. He calls himself Shapeshifter. He's a gamer on YouTube. He's one of many harassers that I have. Yeah, Kaitlynne Tatum, you know what? You can go ahead and pretend whatever the hell you want to pretend. But the fact is, you are looking away from this hell because you have a cush position and a cush life. You want to tell me about all the problems that you have in your life? That's fine. You've got every advantage that I don't. If you came to me and told me that you were being abused, I wouldn't blow you off for 6 years like a piece of shit.